Welcome to Mobile Armor Radio, the podcast for all things mecha. Jumpship incoming.
All right. Welcome to Mobile Armor Radio. I don't even know what episode this is. This is episode 33.
33.
The Big Tree, season 2. Shit, I don't know. All right, Rob, you win. You win, Rob. I'm going to stop doing that.
See, you just don't want to look it up. That's your problem.
No, exactly. So, I'm your host, Chopper.
I'm Bryan.
And I'm Rob.
And today we have non-biting cold weather outside.
Mm-hmm.
Traffic is moving at a brisk pace, and I guess that's about it. Anyone else?
Yeah, it is a bit more melty here after being pretty well frozen for the last couple days.
Yeah, we're supposed to get warm tomorrow, but it's still pretty cold here.
Oh, well, Canada, you know.
Although by the time this comes out, it's March, so hell, it's probably going to be, boiling.
I don't know, man. You've been last couple of Adepticons. Remember, it always snowed.
Oh yeah, it's always by the end of March in Chicago. It's getting slightly spring. Same with here. We're about the same weather as Chicago.
Yeah,
I'm sure, Bryan, you're right on the same latitude as us, anyways. So
yeah, a little ways north. It's pretty chilly.
Yeah, sadly, you're probably most north of all of us.
That is funny.
Yeah, probably.
All right. Well, on that note,
on a geography lesson.
Geography lesson. So, and knowing's half the battle. Let's move on to the dropship.
Dropship landing.
All right, and here we are at the dropship. This is a little segment where Rob is going to tell us what he's been working on.
Pretty much.
Well, I hope you guys have done something. I haven't done much because I've been busy with both Pat and I got a ton of Babylon 5 old metal miniatures from Agents of Gaming. We went all crazy. We found this site that has all the old miniatures from the, Call to Arms and Babylon 5 Wars. So all the fleet guys. So we've been doing that. So I've been printing up lots of flight bases and playing with that. I did print up the Techo Toys mechs. They sell them on Gumtree, I think. And I printed one of them up at 300%. So he's probably about a foot tall. He's pretty cool. I had a hard time with this top piece. I might have to redo it. It wasn't printing right, but I think that was more my printer than anything else. But yeah. Other than that, I haven't been doing much. Oh, I started painting my WizKids Transformers guys. I painted Optimus Prime, and I'm halfway through painting Megatron. They're cool. They're I think they would scale with about maybe 20 millimeter miniatures. That might work. 28, they'd be a bit big. The 28, they're a bit small for that, but 20 millimeter guys, they'd fit in. 15 millimeter, they'd be probably a little bit big, but maybe somewhere in there. Anyways, they're cool. Mostly I'm doing it for display anyway, so there's no game involved. So I just had them and I was like, hey, I should paint these. So I started painting them. And they're that somewhat pre-prime stuff that WizKids does. And it's...
Oh, how's that?
I think I should have washed them, maybe. They have something on them that the paint that didn't stick great to them. I would suggest just priming them. It's probably just best to prime them.
Yeah, probably wash them anyways.
Yeah, there's something on them, for sure. But, yeah, they're fun. They're that more rubbery kind of PVC kind of feel, but they hold details alright. The only problem with these kind of, trying to scrape off mold lines and stuff always is a problem. Same with the bones. I don't know if you've ever had that problem with bones. Usually like a mold line, you can scrape along it, but you can't do that. You have to actually cut into it, and you have to worry about cutting out details then. So.
Oh, yeah.
But they're not too bad. I don't think there's that many mold lines on them, really. Like, I don't see many on them. So it's not horrible. Once again, they're for display, so it's fun. Other than that, what have I done? I don't think I've done anything else. Looking around my room, but no. I think I've been mostly working on that Babylon 5 stuff I've been doing. So, we'll let you know. We're probably gonna play Call to Arms, maybe? There is that new game, Billion Suns coming out, but the more I hear about it, the less I am interested in it, but... Nice fleet game. Actually, our friend Jack Fike has a fleet game that he had made a long time ago, so we might try it with that. So we'll see what those rules are.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
So, that might end up being what it is. We'll use him with his game. And that's about it for me. I don't think I've done anything else. How about you guys? So Brian, what have you been up to?
Not as much on the kind of hobby painting side and stuff. Been a bit of a busier time lately on the life side. I painted up a plague force for Dead Zone. That was about it. Since my scenery's kind of waiting to come up with a couple more ideas for that. But that was fun. Like, in a way, I guess they were kind of themed. So the plague are like mutants and zombies and stuff. And since I painted my GCPS, which is like a human military force, in the colors of the Earth Federation forces from Gundam, I have a couple zombies that are painted in that same style. And then as well as the Maison Labs, who are kind of one of the organizations that kind of help create some of these mutants. I got a couple of those guys painted up as Maison Labs as well, because I painted mine as the Titans. So that's probably as strong a connection as I got to any kind of hobbying that got done in the last month. How about you, Pat?
I did quite a few things, actually. Just we really doubled down on hobbying for a while there. Surprisingly enough, when my computers were down. I did paint some Armada fleet ships. That's neither here nor there. I only make mention of them because they are steam-powered dwarf ships, so in a roundabout way, slightly mecha. But more importantly, I think I finally answered the challenge, and I got my clan mech painted, the first of many, of Clan Vacation Guys.
That did turn out pretty great.
It was, what did I print again? I think I printed a griffin. Was it a griffin? No, it was a gargoyle.
Gargoyle? Yeah, because it was a clay. You had to find a clay and mech, right?
Yeah, because I was going to do an atlas, but then I realized that that's not in the spirit of the challenge. I needed a clan mech, so I found a gargoyle at his suggestion, and I printed it up, and I painted it. I didn't paint it all that great. I mean, I really wanted to see if I get it done, and more importantly, I wanted to see if I can actually paint palm trees on a mech, which I did, and I was quite surprised how well those palm trees turned out.
Yeah, look good.
So my next goal is to actually paint it up, kind of put more time into it, like I would normally paint it if I really cared about clans.
Well, you got to paint a whole star now, right? So you have to do all.
Oh yeah, I got to do a whole star. I got to get the Clan Vacation Guy star. I will do it because our listeners asked for it.
And you had fun painting little details on your mechs. It was great.
Well, surprisingly enough, the palm trees weren't as hard as I thought they were going to be, but so I was very excited at how it turned out. And what else did I do? I worked on my Lyran stupid Arctic Guard because I'm dumb and decided white would be awesome. Lance also worked a little bit on the ships in between takes of Battletech Armada. I would palette cleanse a little bit with the Caldarm ships.
Some Babylon 5 guys. Did you paint any yet, or you just put them together?
I painted the one. I think you were there when I was painting it.
Oh, yeah, you did this, just a test one, yeah.
Yeah, because I was using the oh, Christ, what is that paint I got? The transparent paint.
I forget.
Oh, for God's sake, I can't even remember off the top of my head. I got it off a Creaturecaster. It was... never mind. In the interest of time, let's move on. I used the transparent paint. I've talked about it many times, so I know it's on one of our podcasts. I think that's it as far as mechs are concerned. I think I printed up some aerospace. Oh, I printed up a bunch of aerospace fighters. But the problem with that is that we don't know. And me and Rod looked around. We couldn't find a scale to aerospace fighter to Battletech kind of a chart or something. So I don't know how big these things how big to print these ships at.
Yeah, because they go by tonnage, and if you compare a tonnage of a plane versus tonnage of a tank, say, the plane's way bigger because it's going to be lighter and it's going to be wider, and so I would think that they're going to be quite large compared to mechs. Like, you'd think even a small fighter would be quite large compared to a mech, but who knows? That's in like real life. Who knows in game terms?
Yeah. So I guess the next thing for me to do is actually go through the rulebook and see if there's something in there. But I was hoping Sarna would have something, or just something on the interwebs other than TikToks.
I think you're looking in the wrong spot if you're looking at TikTok.
Well, I was looking at the Battletech TikToks. But that's it. I mean, I think the main focus for my before our next record was to get Clan Vacation guys off the ground. Vision is in place. Pilots have been found. Clan logo is just relax. So I think we're going to be the more popular clan, I think, in the coming wars here. We're not gonna sweat the big stuff. Clan Vacation guys, go.
Or not, or just stay around. Do whatever you want to do.
Whatever we're gonna do. Maybe we'll attack. Maybe we won't. Depends on the sunny day today. So I guess that's it for Dropship then. Let's move on to ComStar.
Message from ComStar.
Let's see.
What do we talk about in the ComStar, Pat?
I mean, people know by now, right? This is where we talk about movies and books and comics and RPGs and fire trucks. And
fire trucks?
Every now and then.
Brian, what do you got for us? What have you been doing?
Well, I've slowly but surely been continuing making my way through Xenogears, the PlayStation 1 title. I'm like at chapter 41 or 42 or something like that, out of 60 apparently. So I'm over 40 hours in, so I must be about halfway there according to PlayStation 1 RPGs. But I won't lie, it cooled for me for a little bit, but I'm kind of getting back into it. And it cooled because I started finding like low polygon 3D art that people have been posting like on Twitter and stuff like that. And it got me thinking about Front Mission 3, which is another PlayStation title that from back in the day. That's a grid-based mecha game. I think I've talked about it on the show a couple of times, and it's a lot of fun to go back. It's one that actually has a branching storyline that starts off like one of the second big decisions you make. It's like, do you go and hang out with this guy or do you not? And the story just diverges completely. Like, you get a different cast of characters to be your sidekicks and everything like that. I think you take on a different, you essentially join a different faction in this kind of 3-faction war, like shadow war going on. Heavily, someone pointed out to me online, it's like that Front Mission is like heavily influenced by Patlabor. And I'm like, that makes total sense now. It's like, now I can see it, especially now that I've seen Patlabor. But no, that one's it's been a fun game to get into. It's some really good chunky kind of mech combats. It's all turn-based, and turn grid-based, and then they'll have like little when you do like attacks and stuff like that, they'll cut away to these PlayStation 1 3D graphics with some just high quality. Oh, I don't know if I say high quality, but a lot of detail worked into the texture to kind of make it come to life. And so that's kind of, it kind of rekindled my appreciation and my enjoyment of that kind of, aesthetic. Like you see like in Mega Man Legends and stuff like that old PlayStation 1 era kind of cell shading. So not gonna lie, like I picked that one up. I played a couple missions. I'll probably be alternating between the two. I'm still also, and this is why, because I'm still also playing Death Stranding, which is a Hideo Kojima game. I forget if I talked about that one on the show earlier, because I've been playing for a little while now. That's the one with Norman Reedus and Guillermo del Toro and Mads Mikkelsen. And
good old Mads.
Yeah. And I've only seen a little bit of him in the game so far. But he's fun. And it's a super strange game, not gonna lie, guys. It kind of qualifies as a mecha series, because it's kind of a post-apocalyptic future. You're basically a guy, a porter, so you're basically taking other people's mail and hauling it across the country, while avoiding like these ghost things, like straight out of Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within, and it's a very rich world kind of going on. There's a lot of thought and detail put into every little aspect. But a big part of it is like this whole 3D printing future kind of thing, where a big part is like you're reconnecting these people so they can get online and essentially be able to 3D print supplies that they need. And then also like literally hauling things that can't be 3D printed across country, like medicine and stuff like that. So it's a strange one. I'm not gonna lie, and a good chunk of it is you literally walking around.
Lord of the Rings simulator.
Nice. What was that?
A Lord of the Rings simulator, just a bunch of guys walking.
Well, it kind of reminds me of if you remember the first demonstration of Metal Gear Solid 5. There was a section where they showed like Snake like mounting up on a horse, and then they had to fast forward because you just wander the Afghanistan desert for a while. And I couldn't help but think, I'm like, see what you're saying is there's long stretches of this game where you're just kind of wandering around doing nothing. There is a bit of that. But I think one thing I've kind of done to make it a little bit better is I have focused mostly on the story missions. There's basically like another thing that happens in the game is that you can find discarded like freight. Essentially, you're like hauling all this stuff on your back, and you got like little robot legs and stuff to make it a little easier, carrying over like 200 kilos of gear, as it were. And but you can find other people's like failed deliveries, and you can try to deliver them. And there's a whole bunch about the gig economy and doing things for likes. And some weird multiplayer stuff worked in there. You don't actually like see any other players, but players can leave things for others to find. So it's a strange one. And I didn't even mention the baby that you're hauling around on your body until now. So
isn't there also you have to go pee and stuff in it?
Yes.
Yeah. So I've heard about it.
I won't explain the context. But you can make these bio grenades that are grenade number 0, which is basically your guy took a shower and like the fluids off of him were used to make this thing, like his sweat and stuff. You can also get a grenade number 1 and a grenade number 2, and I'll let you imagine how those are made. And it's all Norman Reedus, you know. He's got a great sense of humor. You can really tell, like, the Kojima team really loves what they do.
Yeah, they had fun doing it.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited to see like more of like Guillermo del Toro has a character in the game, as well as kind of being someone that was directing it with him. So we'll never, unfortunately, get to see the Silent Hill game that was kind of hinted at with these three guys at the head, like Kojima, Guillermo, and Norman. That was kind of the secret of that game PT a while back. Was that it was a secret Silent Hill trailer. Spoilers. You can't get that demo anymore. But anyway, we'll never see that game. But this game is fun, and it's really strange, and it's a fun time. So, Rob, does anything that you've been reading or watching have a baby attached to him?
That's an interesting question. I don't think so. No. Yeah, well, not a baby, but a child. I did watch last night. Actually, I watched a show that's on Netflix, or a movie that just came in. It's a Korean movie called Space Sweepers, and it's dubbed, but it counts because there is a mech at the end. But it's about this Korean crew in space, and they find a child, and they have to get it back to its parent, maybe. And is it a child? And it's really, really good, and it's fun, and I really enjoyed it, and it's really well done. I think it's a Netflix movie that they probably financed, but the special effects in it are pretty great, and you get to, at first you're like, oh, it's dubbed, and it's a little, but once you get into it, I think it's quite a good movie. And it's kind of a stupid name. It's called Space Sweepers, but it's pretty fun. I liked it a lot, and yeah, I suggest that. I also been catching up on Votoms. I finally finished the first series, and I've been watching the OAVs. And High Dive luckily has a watch order, which helps because there's, I don't know, probably 10 OAVs series. Some are series, some are just one shots. So I think I finished all the prequels, and I'm on to the sequel now of Votoms, which is interesting. And yeah, there's some good ones. The Palestine Files, which I'll talk about more later, but it was probably the most coherent story. The original series like all Japanese series, especially from the 80s, it ended on such a strange note. Like, it was like pretty realistic, like, like a real robot kind of thing until the end. And then it got pretty psychic-y and crazy stuff started happening. And I'm like, really? Why would you throw this in? It's kind of odd. But, that's a lot of Japanese shows back then. They just had to throw some crazy twist at the end. But, I still like it a lot. The Palestine Files was, I think, in the 2000s. I think that one came out. So it's going all over the place. Like, some are in the 80s, some are in the 90s, some are in 2000s. But I'm watching it in chronological order, or watch order, like chronological in the series, not chronological when it came out.
Gotcha.
So this one, I think it was 2007 or something like that. So the graphics are a lot better, and it kind of had that. People hate this, but I don't mind the computer generated kind of fight scenes combined with regular animation for. This kind of, it did feel so jarring. Some of them feel real jarring between the two, like Beast Wars or something like that, where it's just so computer generated. This was a lot more smooth between everything, and
it makes me think of Blue Submarine number 6. That was one of the early entries of that.
Yeah.
2D anime and then CG submarine battles.
I think even, did Shadow Chronicles from Robotech do that too, I think? And it didn't turn out well.
I think it did.
Yeah.
I think it did.
They were a little earlier than this. It worked quite well. I really, the fights in Palestine Files were so much better. Like, they were so dynamic and a lot more action with the scope dogs and stuff. So it was really good. If anybody, you're going to watch any of them, and it was actually a coherent story. It's a prequel, so you don't have to watch anything else. So if you're just going to watch one, it is subbed, because they all are. Votoms was never dubbed, which is, it's interesting for such a big series not to have made it to North America in any kind of way. It's kind of odd.
It's true.
I don't know why. It's well, there's a few of them, like Doug Ram was the same. Like, there's a few ones that for some reason just never made it to North America.
I saw Doug Ram when I was a kid.
Did you? Yeah, see?
Yeah.
So maybe that one did
make it past. It did make it past the, it was on the local channel in the 70s before cable, so.
Maybe it was like a syndication thing.
Well, it came over with that whole branch of stuff, like Spaceship or Yamato and Gatchaman and.
Yeah, there's certain ones. But Votoms, the same idea, same timeline, and it never came over, which is odd. Which I find strange. What else? Oh, we got the Pacific Rim, The Black, a full trailer. which it looks even more exciting. I'm so excited about it. I don't know when it take place in the timeline. I think it must take place after the movies, but it looks really good, and I'm excited for it. And I'll have the link to the trailer in the show notes. Have you guys watched the trailer?
Yeah. I haven't watched it yet. I need to check it out.
Yeah, it was quite good.
I need to watch it yet. I know it's got that kind of weird frame rate thing going on.
Well, it's the Netflix thing. It's the same with the seems like the same kind of animation as the Transformers show. Very similar. I think it's one of those where it's just they do it. Obviously, they're trying to do it cheaply enough that it looks good. I never have a problem with it, but then again, I don't know. What else is happening? Oh, Kids Logic might be getting the rights to Mospeada for some miniatures. That'd be amazing. They're the ones doing the Macross/Robotech miniatures right now. So to do Mospeada, get some 2-scale cyclones, that'd be really fun.
Oh, that would be freaking awesome.
As long as you do it right. They have been so far. Everything's to scale in the Robotech line, like their Macross line. So
yeah, like I haven't had I've seen nothing bad with those Kids Logics yet.
No, other than the price and the shipping now. The shipping is crazy from Hong Kong. This COVID thing has screwed up shipping prices, that's for sure. It's getting ridiculous. But yeah, I'm excited about those. And they're also doing that game, so I wonder if this will be integrated into that. It's a Macross game, so I'm not sure if they're just similar rules or what. But also Strange Machine Games is making that Robotech reconstruction board game. I think we talked about that, but there's some more news about it. It's coming to Kickstarter early May, supposedly. 3 to 4 players, 2 hours long. Heavily strategic, diplomatic, and it's about rebuilding after the Zentradi War. So,
all right,
okay,
interesting.
Intrigued.
3 to 4 players sucks, but
yeah, it does suck because it's. I mean,
that's harder to get.
It's hard to get 3 players now.
Especially to play some weird Robotech game.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's still interesting. I wonder if it's going to have the standees like it did, like the big, because the original Robotech game from Strange Machine Games has that giant cardboard SDF-1. I wonder if they're going to have the destroyed version in cardboard.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, hopefully it has a little bit more of that kind of stuff. And they had those plastic standees for that one too. Once again, we have enough miniatures too. If we wanted to, we could replace everything with miniatures. Also, lastly, Redline I think once again, just a couple days ago, came out with a video showing their prototype unboxing of the new card game coming out that we backed on Kickstarter, but you can go, I have the show notes, it'll have the link to the YouTube. Check out him unboxing. It looks really good, looks real professional, and he explains what all the components coming in it are and how they're going to change and how they're going to look. And he's a big Magic the Gathering player. When we talked to him on the interview, I don't know what episode it was, back in September or something like that. And he knows what quality card games are like, and I think he's really trying to get up to the Magic quality. So
we should reach out to him again and have him bounce, and let's do like a Kickstarter update.
Yeah, for sure.
That'd be cool.
Especially when he gets start shipping. Maybe we'll and it comes to retail. Maybe we'll get him up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I think that's all the stuff to catch up on for me. What about you, Pat? What have you been up to?
Well, as it's well documented, when there's a lot of hobbying, there's not a lot of ComStar. So as far as that's concerned, I don't think I've watched a lot of stuff. But I have been still finishing up the original Kerensky trilogy. I'm just now finishing up the first one. Should be starting up the second one again soon. But as long as we have it, it might take a little bit of time.
It's one or the other.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I just, is my reading time when I would be normally hobbying, and is my hobbying time when I normally read? I don't know. I need to, maybe that just tells me I need to retire.
It's, how many hours of the day do you have?
Yeah, I don't have enough time, and work gets in the way.
Well, I'm semi-retired now. I'm getting a lot done.
Yeah,
semi-retired, semi-temporarily retired. That's what I am.
I need to figure it out.
I'm working more.
Yeah. But I don't think I got any other than just the Lethal Heritage finishing up. I don't think I watched any mech movies. No, I read the Ultraman comic books, but we talked about that last time, right?
Yeah, I don't think the new ones We haven't got a new one this month, have we?
No.
They kind of ended that storyline in last one, so I think that's probably why there hasn't been a new one.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's it. Lethal Heritage finished it up. Getting ready to start the second one.
I have been reading the Battletech books too. I'm up to the. I just finished Twilight of the Clans, that whole series, so I'm up into almost to the. I don't know what's happening next, but past all the characters I like.
I need to read more of the clan books, anyways, seeing as that I'm leading Clan Vacation Guys. So
you got to get some background. Yep.
I gotta get some background. All right. Well, let's move on to the MechBay and have a little chat.
I'm Bryan.
And I'm Rick.
From Dead Zone the Podcast.
And you're listening to
Mobile Armor Radio.
Now entering the MechBay Hanger.
All right. Today's topic for the MechBay Hanger. So, with watching of the WandaVision and the Mandalorian and the subsequent firing of said people from shows, I was thinking about this one day driving home, is if we had a production company with the money of Disney or any of the other big studios, what would my top 3 mech comics, manga, anime be to put high budget, top paid stars?
I'd like to put a caveat on there. You never said comics. You just said anime or cartoons, because I'd have other ones if I was doing comics.
All right, maybe I didn't say comics, so scratch that. Because now I think about it, I just threw it in the lump of things. So
maybe that'll be a future one.
Anime, yeah, maybe comics should be in a whole other story, anyways, because those things run deep.
And
video
games especially. Too. Yeah, video games and like role playing games or those kind of things too. So, anyways, you never even got to what's this topic was.
Yeah, anime. Yeah, so this was my thought as driving, was like, what would I do? Who would be in it? If I had the money of Disney Plus or Disney or whoever else is out there, Paramount, yada yada yada. And what would my top 3 movies would be, and who would I pay them to be in them? So why don't we start with your turn, Rob?
Okay, my first movie. There already was a live action movie of this. At least I'd rather have TV shows, probably. I'm thinking about it. Not even movies. I'd rather have like a long form TV show of all these. But my first one.
All right, we can even do the streaming format. I mean, this could be streaming format.
Well, you mentioned Disney Plus or any of those. Those are all the TV shows are the good things on those platforms.
Yeah, sure.
My first one's gonna be Patlabor, because it is great. It's got a nice combo of mech combat and comedy, so I'm excited about that. I think I would go with the storyline from the first OAV. It's probably the funniest, plus it introduces all the characters. There's a lot, like the movies were a lot more serious. I think the comedy end, is get more people into it. It'd be the silliness of these characters. So,
and then you gotta get the right actors, though.
Yeah, well, it's all about the writing, I think, but.
They gotta be.
But who do you have to play these lead characters?
Well, I'll say, Captain Goto is the leader of section, what is it called? Is it not section 1? Whatever it is, the one
6,
group.
right?
No, you're thinking of Ghost in Shell. No, they're 1 and 2, but I can't remember what their company 1 and 2
they're number 2.
No, number 2 is the good team. Number 1 is the bad team. I always thought that was weird too. But, the leader of them anyways is, Goto. He's kind of a dry kind of guy, but he's quite funny. So I thought, I would choose Robert Downey Jr. for that one. He's a little older too, which would work. But he can play like sarcastic and I think that would work well for Goto. Cause Goto's, he's usually just smoking and like having to deal with these other young characters who are just being crazy. So I thought that would be good for him. He also, I wasn't going to even mention this character, but I thought that this is pretty good casting for her. Is the leader of the other group is Nagumo, and I thought for her she's much more serious, and I thought somebody who could play against about the same age as Robert Downey Jr. So I chose Kate Beckinsale because she's pretty, plus she's a good actress, and I think it would work. And I think she could.
Be it. Yeah.
She'd be the straight woman against Robert Downey Jr. as being wacky. Here's, I think, out of all the ones that I've chosen today, this is my number one casting, because this girl looks like an anime character. It's for Noa Izumi, who's pretty much the main character in the original series of Patlabor. I went with Maisie Williams, because she looks like an anime character. She's got the big eyes. And if you look at the Noah and you look at her, I think it's pretty dead on. Those are, like, pretty good, those two. And, I had to choose, I went for Asuma as the other character, who's kind of her psychic, kind of, and, I had to try to find a Japanese American actor, and it's harder than you think. There's tons of Korean actors, there's tons of Chinese actors, but Japanese American actors are hard to come by. But I did find somebody, who I liked in Pacific Rim Uprising. He's probably a little older now. When that came out, he was pretty young, but his name is, Makinyu. He's the, one of the pilots, the young cadets from that show.
Oh, okay.
And, I think he'd work well, cause he's kind of a wacky character in that too, and Asuma's a bit of a bumbling kind of guy, so I think that might work. So yeah, there's tons of other characters like Goto and people like that. Like, I think you could have some real fun, with these guys. And I think it would be a great show because it would be funny, but you also get, like, industrial mechs versus cop mechs in random fights, and maybe throw in some intrigue with the military and coups and things like that. So that's my first one, is Patlabor.
Nice.
Who's next?
Nice. Who are you calling on?
I'll call on you, Pat. What do you got?
All right. Well, since I was thinking of this on my drive, of course, my first thing was to pick Gundam. The original OG Gundam.
Yeah, I was hoping someone picked Gundam.
Yeah.
So, because we're seeing the live action robot now, so I was thinking, why not put it into a movie? And everything else, I think the fight scenes would look awesome.
Well, we saw what it sort of looked like in Ready Player One.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
awesome.
I think that we're due for a Gundam live action, and I don't, I hear there's talk about the UC and everything else, but I want to see the original. That's me. But for me, then I got to thinking who would be cast. So Amuro, I went straight to Tom Holland because that guy can play a really naive, whiny little kid if he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got that charisma too, and
yeah, and he does, and he pulls it off, the whiny little kid, especially in that second Spider-Man movie when he doesn't want any responsibility, he just wants to be left alone.
Mm-hmm.
And then for Char I struggled with for a long time, and I finally came back to Stephen Amell.
Oh,
from Arrow.
Arrow, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he'd have to blonde up his hair, but he's got that kind of hardcore charisma, cold face look. So I couldn't think of anything else that could pull off a cold face but still be kind of smug. And Stephen Amell did 7 years of that, or 6 years.
He was definitely that show.
Yeah. Bright Noah, Ed Norton came to mind because Bright Noah was kind of an asshole for most of the show, and Ed Norton is pretty much an asshole.
Oh.
And then, of course, my favorite character, Rambaral, Clancy Brown, for sure.
He would be a great Rambaral.
Yeah.
Yes, sure, Clancy Brown, Rambaral. And then I picked up my two favorite zombies, Cassilia and Garma. Cassilia, of course, I went straight to Katie Sackhoff because, Cassilia could be a Mandalorian if you put her in the right armor.
Yeah.
And Garma, good-looking kid, got set up by Shar. I think Chris Evans could really play that good-looking kid who gets set up. Especially, I mean, because the Chris Evans I'm looking for is not the Captain America Chris Evans.
Yeah, not super muscular. Yeah.
No, the Chris Evans from what was that other movie he did?
Snowpiercer or
No, it's the comic book.
Oh,
The Losers?
Yeah, The Losers.
Losers, or even from Scott Pilgrim.
Fantastic Four?
Yeah, no, not Fantastic. I'm thinking of
you didn't narrow down the comic book enough.
He's been a lot, yeah.
But I didn't realize that as we started naming them all off. Oh shit, he's been in quite a few comic books. But The Losers is the one I'm thinking of. The least known comic book, The Losers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because he's like a geeky
Yeah.
hacker in there, isn't he?
tech guy.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's he's fit, but he's not buffed
No,
out like
he's
in
just-
Captain America.
Yeah. He's huge in Captain America. Like, it's ridiculous. And he
Yeah.
never was like that before that movie, so.
Yeah. So, all right, that's for me. And then how about you, Brian? What did you get?
Well, I went down a list of anime that I've got, and I think I'm going to start off with Code Geass. Now I'll also preface this by saying, like, I'm rather ignorant of young actors. I'm realizing most of my list are people that are supposed to be in high school.
I know.
For one thing, and a lot of them are actually supposed to be Asian as another thing. That said, I do feel bad that due to ignorance, I don't know many of either. And
No, it's
I'm
hard.
Sure there
yeah.
are many talented
No, it is
people.
hard. And if you were going to be casting this movie, you'd probably be looking at 20s anyways.
Yeah, and like I said, I would actually focus on getting some more Asian characters. Code Geass takes place in Japan. It's very specific about that. But that said, we're gonna just kind of have fun with this. And so for Lelouch v. Britannia, I picked out Thomas Brodie Sangster. Now, the thing I actually remember him from is he was in an episode of Doctor Who where it was one of the better story arcs of David Tennant's run, where he played a young boy who was getting trained up in leading up to World War I. And so in a way, the Doctor kind of saves him in the trenches. Because he basically goes from school to the trenches in that show. And that's years ago now. He's been in other things. I think The Maze Runner was one of his more prominent roles. So just kind of a young, lanky British kid, I think would kind of fill that role of Lelouch v. Britannia fairly well. I haven't seen him be as boisterous and melodramatic as Lelouch can be, so that would be kind of an interesting acting challenge for him. In a similar vein, we have Suzaku, who's kind of the lawful good character in the show. And much like Pat had mentioned, I think Tom Holland would pull that off pretty well. And like to a kind of crazed extent where it's like rules are rules and we're both going to die here because rules are rules kind of way. And so to kind of complement that, I only did 3 characters for this show. Colin Stodfeld, who's one of the other main pilots in the show that Suzaku goes up against, I thought, how perfect would it be if he was fighting against Zendaya? So rather than him and MJ getting together, they're trading blows with giant mechas. So I thought that would be a fun little cast for that show. And so I think we'll kind of keep the rotation going and back to Rob.
Sure. My second one, as I'm obsessed with right now, is Votoms. And like I said, I think for a TV show or even a movie, you have to stick with something that's easy to get into. And I would say Palestine Files is the way to go. It's kind of a prequel. It's all about Kiriko joining the military and how he kind of gets into adventures, but he also, you find out things about him. I don't want to ruin things if you want to watch Votoms, but anyways, it's got some military action plus some intrigue with some other characters. So for Kiriko, I'm going to choose someone. Kiriko is he's very bland. I wouldn't say bland, but brooding. He's always brooding, and he doesn't have much way of emotions shown. So I thought I'd choose an actor that really I felt like had that kind of feel, and it's Charlie Heaton he's Jonathan on Stranger Things. I think he's got that feel to him, and I think he would work for that. And I think he can play a mech pilot. Like, I think he would work well for that one anyways. I think it would work. In the Palestine Files, Kiriko's part of a unit, and the leader of that unit, they're all like misfits. And this guy is he's kind of known for, running away. Like when the chips come down, he just kind of blends into the background, gets out of the action, and that's how he survives. Like he's got demoted because of that. Now he's end up leading this little squad. His name's Burkhoff, and I think not just the looks, but also the looks, but Daniel Radcliffe, he's a really good actor, actually. Like, you think of him as Harry Potter, but actually he's a really good actor, and I think he could play that kind of, he's a good guy, but he's kind of I wouldn't say slimy, but he's kind of, he kind of gets out of the way of trouble, and I think he could end up playing that character. Once again, he gets to pilot a mech, so that matters. And as for the bad guys, the leader of like the intelligence unit, who's kind of pulling the strings behind the action. It's kind of more of, there's no action in, like, he doesn't have any action scenes. It's him just pretty much being in the background, is Voltron. And I think, I think Michael Fassbender could play that as a scheming kind of bad guy, but not overly bad. He's not mustache twirling or anything. He's got his plans in motion, and I think he could play that. And he's kind of using, this Paleson, who is a general who created, this unit called the Red Shoulders that Kiriko was part of. And Paleson has like behind the scenes machinations going on. And I thought it would be, appropriate as like kind of a, stunt casting to, put Ian McKellen in that role so we could have both Magnetos in one movie and, playing off each other. And I think Ian McKellen could play someone who is, he acts like he's weak, but he's actually not weak. He's very strong. So I think he could play that character really well. Once again, I don't want to ruin, I think people should watch the Paleson Files, so I don't want to ruin anything. So, but, yeah, I think that would be a good casting there. So there you go. That's Votoms for you. So Pat, what do you got next?
Well, again, I stuck, with the things I grew up with again. And Mazinger Z was another one that I remember growing up and watching and enjoying a whole lot, especially when they brought the Gundam, not the Gundam, the Shogun Warrior toys over in America. So as far as the cast characters, then I was thinking, well, the lead is Koji Kabuto, the pilot of Mazinger Z. I went with Brandon Routh. He actually almost kind of looks like the character. So, and he could do his kind of, his style. So I thought he would be a really good guy.
Yeah. Once again, I think people have seen him in, Superman and think, oh, he's not great, but he's actually a really good actor.
Yeah. He's in Legends of Tomorrow.
Yep.
As, oh gosh.
He's the Atom, isn't he? The Atom, that's it, yeah.
He's the Atom.
Yeah.
But then he was just recently in that Nathan Fillion's new TV show, The Rookie. And
oh, nice.
You can if you want to see someone who switches roles from being a good guy to being kind of a really jerk, watch him in The Rookie, where he plays like an old racist cop.
Well, he was awesome.
Yeah. What are you going to say, Brian?
I was going to say Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, me too.
Oh yeah,
he's the vegan.
He's the real jerk in that.
The vegan guy, the ex-vegan,
the ex-boyfriend. Yeah, League of Ex-Boyfriends.
The League of
with your other guy, Chris Evans.
So Chris Evans, and I think there's a whole bunch of other people in there. Maybe Clancy Brown was one of those ex-boyfriends too.
That'd be funny. That'd be disturbing.
And then his main protagonist and / partner, love interest, Sayaka Kumi. I couldn't really find a really good enough gal who I thought would be kind of hard-faced and stern, but I went with that Anne Hathaway.
Okay.
So, not my strongest pick, I'm going to be honest with you.
You picked more for the looks?
I think so, because at that point I was running out of other options, and I said, well, she looks like Anne Hathaway, so I'm gonna cast her.
Anne Hathaway, once again, is a good actress. It's just, you don't get to see it that much.
No. And then, of course, the main enemy of Mazinger Z, and he makes a resurgence in Mazinkaiser, is Dr. Hell. And Dr. Hell is this ridiculous-looking guy in the cartoon, and only one person that came to mind. Well, there was two. The second one was Jack Black, but I ultimately went with my first pick, which was Will Ferrell.
Yeah, especially after Zoolander. It's I think he played very similar.
Yes. I thought Will Ferrell would be awesome as Dr. Hell. And then there is Boss, who in Mazinger Z is Koji's kind of high school bully, but then later on throughout the seasons he becomes his friend and ally, even like scouting ahead and looking for other robots for him as Boss. And for that guy, I thought you wanted kind of a bigger, kind of dumb looking guy, but not stupid. He's got that kind of muscle no brain look, and I went with that Dominic Purcell.
Once again from Arrow.
Once again he was the fire guy. What was his character's name again? Was he Heat?
Heatwave?
Yeah. Heatwave.
Yeah.
Heatwave, and he was also one of the brothers from Prison Break.
Yep.
And little known Dracula in Blade 3.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I totally forgot that he was in that movie. Yeah. Yep.
So that's my cast for Mazinger Z.
He had a small role in the movie Equilibrium.
Did he?
I think he's one of the guys that gets killed in the first shootout.
Wow.
Oh, I think he was the next. Oh no, that was what's his face? Aragorn, not Aragorn. Boromir.
Yeah.
Sean Bean.
Sean Bean was in it. Yeah. And surprise, he gets killed.
He was an old cleric. But yeah. So my cast for Dominic Z would probably be a spring release, not a fall release.
You turn that into a romantic comedy. That's what you do.
A rom-com.
Rom-com with giant robots.
So my next one here is Escaflowne. So again, fantasy, like high fantasy, big robots that are all kind of steam and magic powered. And I won't lie, I think some of the actors for this, I kind of imagine them when they were a bit younger than they are now. Again, you guys lucked out where you picked people that were all like old already, like your characters. But I thought this would be another kind of fun reunion. So I have, with the titular character of Hitomi, or not titular, I guess, the main character of Hitomi being played by Kristen Stewart. And acting opposite her for the character of Vaughn as Robert Pattinson. So, like... Does he glitter? If you haven't seen either of those two act separate of one another,
yeah,
obviously they were both in Twilight together as the main couple, but they're both incredibly talented. And so something where the vehicle of it is kind of another fantastical kind of series, I think they could really have some fun acting chops. It's like the character of Hitomi, like she is the main character, but she is able to contribute to the story. It's not just always like a damsel in distress kind of thing. And then as another character out of the pack, I thought of Alan Shazar. And so he's the kind of Sephiroth looking dude with the long blonde hair. I thought James Marsters would be a really cool Alan Shazar.
Oh, nice.
And that dude loves anime, so he would like. He would
soak it up.
Yeah, he would love it. He would own that role. But yeah, so again, kind of a lighter pick, honestly. But I thought it'd be a fun reunion of those characters and hopefully give them something that's a little bit more to sink their teeth into. Get it? So back to Rob before I make more puns.
So for my last one, I went another classic. You can go two ways with this, and you probably wouldn't be able to release it in North America thanks to Harmony Gold, but it'd be Mospeada, Genesis Climber Mospeada.
Mospeada.
So great cast. There's lots of characters, and I went with most of the main. I didn't even do any of the villains or anything. I went with all most of the heroes, not even all of them. So for first, I used for Stick or Scott from Robotech. I chose Josh Hutcherson from he's Peeta in the Hunger Games, but I think he plays like a real wimp in that movie in that series, and I think he could play. He looks the part, and I think he could play a little bit of a stronger character as Stick, and who is really
he's
just
the
a
oldest.
Stick.
He's the oldest son in the Home Improvement too.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's the oldest son in the Home Improvement too.
I didn't know that. Anyways,
when he was a kid.
He was good, like in the Hunger Games he played, but he was really wimpy in that movie. Well, he does get tortured pretty much, so he gets brainwashed and tortured, so I can't blame him, but I think he's a good actor, and I think he could do well as Stick. For Ray, and mostly for his hair, but I chose Joe Keery from Steve from Stranger Things, and I think he could play a wacky character like Ray or Rand, and I think he'd do quite well. For Huket or Rook, she doesn't really look the part, but I think she's such a good actress. I think she could do it, and you just have to dye her hair blonde. Which is Haley Steinfeld from Bumblebee, and she's going to be Hawkeye in the new Hawkeye series. I think she could play it. She's such a good actress. I think she could play that character who's a bit...
Is she going to be Hawkeye?
Yeah, she's going to be Hawkeye to Hawkeye. Yeah, she's the new Hawkeye.
Nice.
Not Hawkeye. Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're filming that right now.
She's also in one of those acapella movies, that Pitch Perfect movies.
You know what I'm learning about you today, Pat, is you watched a lot of these, like, a lot of these teen, singing movies. I don't know why this is true, but.
Because my wife loves them.
Oh, okay. That's excuse. I'm sure she would tell us a different story, but.
Well, it's not that I'm watching them, it's that they're on the TV when I walk by.
Yeah. That's alright.
Or when I'm sitting at the table eating.
You can like them. You can like them all you want.
I'm a singer at heart.
It's true. Lastly, for my very last character is Yellow Beaumont or Lancer. Obviously the most famous, transvestite, character in any anime. Maybe. And I chose, this person's on all of our lists now. I chose Tom Holland because, if you've ever seen his lip sync battle, which I'll put the link to,
I did.
It's
crazy.
Is amazing.
He did a fantastic job.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, he could play Lancer easy. Like, he's so good at, like, you believe him as a girl, you believe him as a guy, you like, obviously, you're used to him as Spider-Man, but man, he could play a hot chick. That's all I'm saying. Is this the second time I've mentioned this lip sync battle on, this show? It might be. But, this is, I think he'd be great for that. Tom Holland is, I think, our overall winner because he's been on our list, so.
He got the hat trick.
It's true.
Yep.
He's our number one paid actor.
Yes. He is an up and coming star. He's going to be the superstar. He's going to be the, Robert Downey Jr. of this generation, I think.
Of our mech film.
Yes. Pat, what's your next
one?
Hey,
just if any of you guys get this idea and you start putting movies out, you know that this idea came from us.
Yeah, that's right. We'd like some casting credits.
We're putting that out in the waves right now.
That's right. Pat, what's your last one?
All right, so for my last one, I went with another child, but I didn't use the childhood version. I went with Voltron. But in my head, I casted the Netflix version.
Yeah.
I don't know why I did that, but I just felt like the updated character. I think I like the updated characters better than I like the old.
Yeah, they're drawn out.
They were
more.
Less campy. Yeah,
and they're not
less campy.
Yeah, the old ones were pretty much one note. These all had a bit of a character behind them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I went with them. So, and I didn't do any of the bad guys. I just went with the 5 main paladins, as they're called now. So for Shiro, I went with a ex-kid actor who's now older, who's actually a better actor than I think people give him credit for. I'm not saying he's a thespian, but he's funny as hell.
Yeah,
is with Zac Efron.
Yeah,
you know, he's I think he'd make the good Shiro. He's kind of he's built so he could do that part, the scene where he's the gladiator fighting. When he disappears, and he's kind of got a pained look in his eyes sometimes every once in a while, so I think he'd be a good Shiro. Keith, I went with Joe Dempsey, and I had to actually look his name up, but he's Gedry from Game of Thrones. Gedry Baratheon. Because Keith is the high-head serious pilot, upset he flunked out. And Joe Dempsey, he's got that face, when he had that face and that kind of attitude in Games of Thrones that I thought would transfer over to Keith very well. And then Lance, there's the goofball, the troublemaker. I went with Ezra Miller. As much as I wasn't a big fan of him as the Flash in Justice League, but that movie was bad in general, so I didn't hold it against him.
Mm-hmm. The cast was not the problem with those movies.
No, well, the casting was the problem, I think. It's because the Flash is not supposed to be some Joker character like that. Not that Flash. It's the wrong Flash. He's playing, Wally West. Yeah, not, what's his name?
Barry Allen.
Barry Allen, yeah. Barry Allen's not a Joker. Wally West is the Joker, yeah. They should just made it Wally West. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sorry.
Uh-huh.
But I thought he would make an excellent Lance,
Mm-hmm.
Based on his performance as the Flash. And then for Pidge, they never say she's a girl in the comic books or in the TV show, did they?
I was confused about that. Is she a girl or is she a boy?
I think they left her gender non-specific in general, and I don't think they ever mentioned it. And there's nothing wrong with that either.
No, I think that was
it was hard for me to pick and I think that was very hard for me to pick a person. But I went with Chloe Grace Moretz as the sidekick girl or whatever her name was in Kick-Ass.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Hit Girl.
Hit Girl.
Yeah, Hit Girl. I'm looking at that Chloe Grace Moretz to be Pidge.
Yeah, she's quite pretty now.
And and she's a bit older, and definitely.
But I don't know if you
Hit Girl was.
Yeah, I don't know, but you only see her in makeup, right? I bet if you took the makeup off her and changed her hairstyle, you probably could make her a lot more asexual. It's probably true with anybody, but it could work.
Right.
Or just non-binary.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I think she also fits the kind of the character in itself pretty well too. So, and then for Hunk, again, I need another kind of dopey looking guy, but not stupid. And I went with Seth Rogen. I mean, come on. You can't tell me that Hunk in any version of Voltron is not the kind of a dopey looking guy.
Yep.
Like, obviously he's too old now, but yeah, he could have, he definitely could play.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit younger Seth Rogen. I mean, you could even dye his hair. He'd still be goofy enough and dopey enough to pull off Hunk, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Once again, Jack Black might work there, too. I thought
about Jack Black, too, but I think he might be a little too short.
Yeah, is Hunk taller? Yeah. Yeah, Jack Black.
Yeah, Hunk's
very
tall.
short.
Yeah, Hunk's tall.
Yeah.
So, that's my version of Voltron. Definitely a summer release. With that cast. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that'd be a hit.
So for my last one, I went with Full Metal Panic.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's on my brain, and I've been planning to do a rewatch of it soon. But this one actually, I changed some stuff around as we were talking because I thought of some better options. So for the leading lady, for Chidori, I picked Haley Stadfeld as well from Bumblebee.
Oh,
so she gets another one.
It's her singing cred. She's like our second best actress.
Yeah. I think she just kind of has that ability to kind of face like what her role in Bumblebee, like where she was really kind of faced with absurdity, but was able to kind of tackle it, was kind of fun. Opposite her as Sosuke Sagara, I've got Kit Harington. So the character is very like super serious soldiery type, and I thought that that was one of the fun things everyone made fun of Jon Snow about, because he was always super serious and everyone around him is just like, dude, you're being so
relax,
serious. Yeah. And then for Captain Tessa, I had Chloe Bennett. So she was Daisy, or she had like 3 names. Sky or Daisy from Quake from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So she was one of the lead ladies.
Yep.
She's number 1 on the stock list for sure.
Mm-hmm. For Kurz Weber, who's kind of the fun playboy sharpshooter of the show, I've got Channing Tatum. This is the one where I could expand because there were older characters. For Richard Mardukas, who I'll do him in a second. For the villain Gowron, who's like a evil mercenary dude, I went with Thomas Jane from The Punisher.
No.
I won't lie, when we were talking about Scott Pilgrim earlier, and the vegan police is when he got added to the list.
Oh my.
And
He's
so,
funny, though.
and then Richard Mardukas. So this is the submarine commander. That's the commander below Captain Tessa. John Cena.
You did it. You knew you had to get John Cena in there.
I had to get John Cena in there. I'm like, you know what? He'd be good in that. He was really good in Bumblebee.
Yeah, I thought so. A lot of people thought he was over the top.
I didn't like him. I thought he was too much. I didn't like it.
I thought he was perfect. He was like, this is so ridiculous, and yet I have to believe it because I'm in the military and I have to stop these robots, but he was just like hilarious.
I can see where you're coming from, Pat. He is one of the only people that goes, they're called Decepticons. Why are we trusting them?
Yeah, I love that.
All right. That was the shining moment of him for that movie, I think, when he says that. I mean, it just, I don't know. I watched it on the plane, too.
Yeah, you had to kind of treat it as an 80s movie, where everything's over the top.
I can live with that, because I agree with that, but just him, I just couldn't do it.
I'm excited about Peacemaker, that's all I know.
So that's my list, and I think that's all of ours.
All right, I think that was actually that was fun and actually really insightful.
I would like to do this again because it is fun. Like doing it.
Well, we'll definitely
games
we'll do comics next time.
Comics, games, or video games. Yeah, there's tons of places we can go.
Yeah,
these are the kind of things I think about when I drive home by myself.
so Pat has his topics picked out for the next 3.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you got to space them out. You can't do them all at once.
True.
No. So, all right. Well, let's move on to the ExFil then.
Let's ExFil out of here.
All right, here we are at the ExFil, and I think it's time for us to get out of here. A good time in the Mech Bay, just chilling out, talking about some moves, ease.
Move ease?
Yes, some moves and some ease.
Ease. Some moves and some ease.
I think we've proven we're excellent casting directors.
Yes.
That's right. I mean, if anyone needs casting director, I mean, especially if you're going to start a mech franchise, you got to call us.
Yeah.
Definitely got to call us.
Or our loving fans can donate to like a Patreon or something.
To make these movies.
To make these movies.
We might let's just start a GoFundMe just to make a movie /
and the budget would be like $100 million, so you never get to it. But
you know what? I'll have to do it next time. No one picked Neon Genesis Evangelion.
I thought you would for sure.
I thought for sure that's why I didn't do it, because I thought for sure you were going to grab that one.
I thought 100% that was going to be on
That's
your
on
list.
me then.
Well, I was afraid nobody's going to pick Gundam. Like I was like,
right.
Somebody's going to pick Gundam, right? Like.
Yeah, well, again, so I tried to stay away from Robotech because I knew someone would pick Robotech or Macross.
Yeah, we didn't even pick the original Robotech. I only did Mospeada.
Yeah,
we definitely should come back to this.
Yes, I think we can step away from the original Macross or Robotech. I mean, Mospeada is better anyways.
No, but I mean, like, for casting, though, there's so many more we could do. Like, there's so much,
So, stay tuned for part 2. But, we're in the middle of a heat wave, so everyone's going to be drowning. I hope everyone knows how to swim.
Learn to swim.
Yeah, so everyone have a good St. Patrick's Day, because this is March, right?
Yep.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, have St. Patrick's Day, drink safely, don't catch COVID, go into the bars.
Well,
yes.
For us, we've been locked down since last St. Patty's Day, so it's coming on a year. So,
well, we're opening up a little bit, so I think that's going to be If it's warm and we've opened up a little bit, that's just a ticket for chaos in Chicago. So,
yeah. In the Midwest in general.
Well, we'll wrap it up. Thanks for listening, guys, and we will see you next month. For Mobile Armor Radio, I've been Chopper.
I've been Bryan.
And I'm Rob.
We'll see you next time.
This has been Mobile Armor Radio. Join our Facebook group by searching for Mobile Armor Radio. Find us on Twitter at @MArmorRadio. Find us on iTunes and visit our website, mobilearmorradio.podbean.com. Join us on the first of every month for more mecha discussion.